Konnichiwa, minasan. O genki desu ka? Welcome to the intermediate course of my channel. Let's learn Japanese with Eric. In this lesson, we will learn how to express experience using the conjugation ta koto ga aru. Ii desu ka? Hajimemashou. In this lesson, we will learn how to express experience in Japanese. For example, to say things like, have you ever eaten sushi? In Japanese, sushi wo tabeta koto ga arimasu ka? Yes, I have eaten sushi before, meaning I have experience eating sushi. And in Japanese, we say, hai, sushi wo tabeta koto ga arimasu. If I have no experience eating sushi, my answer would be, iie, sushi wo tabeta koto wa arimasen. The formula for expressing experience is to use the plain past affirmative form of the verb, or the ta form, and you add koto ga arimasu or koto ga aru in the plain form. This is a set phrase to add to the ta form. And if you ask a question, add the question particle ka at the end. Ta koto ga arimasu ka? Do you have experience in doing so and so? Yes, I have experience. Nani nani ta koto ga arimasu. No experience, iie, nani nani ta koto wa or koto ga arimasen. Arimasu is an irregular verb. To learn how to properly conjugate this verb in its basic forms, you can review lesson 30 on irregular verbs. Let's deconstruct this conjugation. For example, to say, I have experience eating sushi, in Japanese we say, sushi wo tabeta koto ga arimasu. Sushi wo tabeta koto ga arimasu. Because experience is in the past, we use the plain past affirmative form, tabeta, meaning ate. Sushi wo tabeta, meaning I ate sushi, is the subordinate clause. And we nominalize it with koto to turn the whole clause, I ate sushi, or sushi wo tabeta, into a noun clause. We learned about nominalization in lesson 44. Then the predicate is ga arimasu, which means so-and-so exists. We learned how to use the verb arimasu in lesson 21. So literally, the whole sentence means the fact that I ate sushi exists. In other words, I have experience eating sushi. If you recall the 10 basic verb conjugations, which we tackled in lessons 26 to 30 for each verb category, the conjugation that we use for experience is the plain past affirmative form. Let's quickly review how to make this. For a ru dropping or category 1 verb such as taberu, which means to eat, drop the ru and replace with ta. So taberu turns to tabeta. All ru dropping verbs conjugate this way. You can review basic conjugation of category 1 verbs in lesson 26. For category 2 or last hiragana changing verbs, these are the 9 kinds of hiragana endings of the dictionary form of the verb. To form the plain past, ku changes to ita, gu to ida, su to shita, bumunu change to nda, and rutsu all change to utta. Basic conjugation for category 2 verbs are explained in detail in lessons 27 to 29. For the 5 commonly used category 3 or irregular verbs, suru, kuru, iku, aru, and da, these are their plain past forms, shita, kita, itta, atta, datta. Basic verb conjugation of irregular verbs can be reviewed in lesson 30. Let's look at some example sentences. Have you been to Japan? This really means, have you gone to Japan? And the verb is iku, which means to go, an irregular verb in Japanese. In Japanese, we say, Anata wa Nihon ni itta koto ga arimasu ka? Anata wa Nihon ni itta koto ga arimasu ka? Anata wa meaning you is optional because this is a default when you ask a question. The verb itta is in the plain past, highlighted in blue. And the rest of the formula, koto ga arimasu, is in purple, and we add the question particle ka in the end. Literally, the whole sentence means, does the fact exist that you went to Japan? Meaning, have you gone to Japan? And to answer, yes, I've been to Japan, In Japanese, we say, はい、日本に行ったことがあります。はい、日本に行ったことがあります。The fact exists that I went to Japan, meaning yes, I have experience going to Japan. And if the answer is no, I've never been to Japan, in Japanese, いいえ、日本に行ったことはありません。いいえ、日本に行ったことはありません。The fact that I went to Japan does not exist, meaning no experience in going to Japan. Now, because the sense is negative, Japanese people expect to hear the topic particle wa, and we do this by saying koto wa arimasen instead of koto ga arimasen. We can also answer, いいえ、私は日本に行ったことがありません. Here, we keep the original formula, ことがありません, and fulfill the requirement of saying wa in a negative sense by saying the optional 私は. Have you ever made rum cake? Or do you have experience making rum cake? あなたはラムケーキを作ったことがありますか? あなたはラムケーキを作ったことがありますか? Yes, I have. はい、あります。はい、あります。No, I haven't. いいえ、ありません。いいえ、ありません. In our replies here, we just use shortcuts. はい、あります. Yes, the experience exists. いいえ、ありません. No, the experience does not exist. Mr. Smith has read a Japanese novel. In Japanese, スミスさんは日本の小説を読んだことがあります。スミスさんは日本の小説を読んだことがあります. Literally, it means, as for Mr. Smith, the fact exists that he's read a Japanese novel. I haven't eaten yet at that restaurant. In Japanese, あのレストランでまだ食べたことはありません。あのレストランでまだ食べたことはありません. I've been on an airplane. The verb here is to ride or 乗る. In Japanese, 飛行機に乗ったことがあります。飛行機に乗ったことがあります. Have you ever bought a car? 車を買ったことがある。車を買ったことがある. We are using the plain form of あります here, and so we typically say it with a rising intonation without the question particle ka in the end. Yes, I have. はい、ある。はい、ある. No, I haven't. いいえ、ない。いいえ、ない. Nai is the negative plain conjugation of ある. Mary has seen a Japanese movie before. In Japanese, ミャリさんは日本の映画を見たことがあります。ミャリさんは日本の映画を見たことがあります。Tom hasn't seen a Japanese movie ever. In Japanese, トム君は日本の映画を見たことがない。トム君は日本の映画を見たことがない。I've thought of that before. それは思ったことがあります。それは思ったことがあります。I have never thought of that before. それは思ったことはない。それは思ったことはない。I have never been married. 私は結婚したことがありません。私は結婚したことがありません。I have never studied biology. 生物学を勉強したことはありません。生物学を勉強したことはありません。We can also use the experience conjugation たことがあります for adjectives and nouns. In this case, it means there was a time when なんとかなんとか. For example, the adjective 高い which means expensive. バナナは大変高かったことがあります。バナナは大変高かったことがあります。In English, there was a time when bananas were very expensive, or bananas used to be very expensive. This was indeed true in the 70s. in Japan because they weren't mass-produced as much then. You got to eat a banana only when you were sick. Now, just a word of caution. You use the experience construction or koto ga arimasu to describe past events that are several years old. You can't use this construction to describe events of recent past, such as yesterday or last week. To say that bananas were very expensive yesterday, you just say, Kino banana wa taihen takakatta desu, and not say, Kino banana wa taihen takakatta koto ga arimasu. Now that would be wrong. Another example using a na adjective. Inconvenient is fubenna. As we've said time and again, na adjectives are grammatically nouns. So the verb we use is the verb to be, da, and its past tense is datta. The word for international travel is kokusai ryoko. What does this sentence mean? Kokusai ryoko wa fuben datta koto ga arimasu. Kokusai ryoko wa fuben datta koto ga arimasu. In English, there was a time when international travel was inconvenient, or international travel used to be inconvenient. And for a noun example, our word is gakusei, which means student. Watashi wa gakusei datta koto ga arimasu. Watashi wa gakusei datta koto ga arimasu. In English, there was a time when I was a student, or I used to be a student. To summarize, in this lesson, we learned how to express experience in Japanese, ta koto ga aru, or ta koto ga arimasu, in polite form. The formula for doing this is to take the plain past affirmative or ta form of the verb, adjective or noun. Then you add the set phrase, koto ga arimasu, or koto ga aru, in plain style. To ask if someone has experience, add the question particle ka at the end. Ta koto ga arimasu ka? If yes, the answer is typically, hai, nani nani ta koto ga arimasu. And if you have no experience, the answer is, iie, nani nani ta koto wa arimasen, or nani nani ta koto ga arimasen. The Japanese ear likes to hear the particle wa in the sentence when the answer is in the negative. Just a short note, experience uses the plain past form of the verb. What happens if we use the non-plain past form of the verb? For example, we say, sushi wo taberu koto ga arimasu. Taberu means will eat, which is non-past. This sentence construction, ru koto ga arimasu, means I sometimes eat sushi. Nani nani ru koto ga arimasu is the conjugation for occasional occurrence, which is the topic of our next lesson. So I'll see you then. Otsukaresama deshita. If you're serious about becoming fluent in Japanese, it's important to practice daily, learn grammar, and build up vocabulary. My whole course is designed to give you a strong basic foundation in the Japanese language that you can build solidly upon. So please click like, share, or subscribe and watch the next video in the series. Nihongo no benkyou ni ganbatte kudasai. じゃあ、またね。